And we're live. Welcome to What's Up Co-op Shop.
Oh, the music's done, Steve.
Sorry. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
I was jamming out.
I've been trying to build up more of a repertoire library of audio sounds to meet with stuff. So yes, what?
That was definitely catchy.
This is a great segue into the welcoming back of us three being on a chat
That's
together.
right. We're always on topic. No worries.
Mayhem. Just open with mayhem.
I am excited to be here. I am excited that Kenji is back from his world tour.
I'm
excited that Steve is here so he can make this happen. I'm excited people are in the chat. I am on location, if you can't tell. I am in a new location today. It's my dining room.
Yeah, nice to see you, Snow. Topic, what was that? What's going on with you? This is our co-op chat. First time joining us, welcome. This is our live chat where we try to focus on a different topic each week. We tend to meander off topic quite a bit, but do focus on cooperative board games. So,
hey, Snow,
good morning, Kate. Nice to see you here.
Everybody's here. Thank you all for joining. This is awesome. Kanji, you came back from your world tour. Kanji, tell me a little bit
about world tour.
Give me some highlights of your world tour.
I shared, but I did my.
I know you did a big thing.
I did. Well, I did it. What was funny, and I laughed about this with Bairnt and Steve, and truly, it's laugh because to be in a content creator, you gotta have a thick skin. So it was a true laugh, but. When I did the video of kind of like, here's my trip and UK Game Expo, I was like, I got dislikes. I'm like, people hated my trip? You didn't do your trip right. How dare you travel? You're terrible. So I laughed. It made me laugh the whole time. Anyway, the trip was fun. Had a great time, and UK Expo was amazing. Bob Chapman, Cynthia and Brian Walbridge were all amazing and just so accommodating and helpful. So it was a good time. Scotland's amazing. London's UK is amazing. It was just great.
That's awesome. I'm so glad you got a chance to get over there. It'd be fun to visit that one. That was one. I don't know. Derrick and I have been talking a little bit about this and trying to like getting out to try more cons of what it comes down to. I can only go to so many cons a year, right? I don't have so many family points I could spend, right? So
yes.
Yeah. And I think like I'm trying to do like a con, at least one, maybe two max cons a year, but that also means a trip somewhere.
Yeah.
We've been locked down in COVID and I am so ready to get out. So this was my first big trip out of country since lockdown. And it was nice.
I'm glad. I have not been to the UK. That's one of the countries I'd like to go to that I haven't been yet. I've been all over Eastern Europe, but I've never been to Western Europe very much. I've only been to Italy. So, and that's Eastern. That's Western Europe. Yeah. So I'd like to get there sometime. I do like your plan. I think you have a fantastic plan there. Go to a con outside the US as a trip every year. I think that's an awesome way to do it.
Yeah.
And Steve, I've heard rumors you get more family points the older the kids get.
That's good to know. So you travel more. Cool.
Yeah. I think I've kind of learned that myself. I've got a 13 to 10 now, and I have a little bit more flexibility than I used to when they were like 4 and 6.
Right. But we're gonna meet up at Gen Con this year, and the three of us are gonna be there. Yeah, and Colin's gonna be there as well. We're gonna play board games, see a bunch of people, see a bunch of stuff. It's gonna be great.
Dude, it's going to be a party all the time.
It is. Yeah, if you guys are at Gen Con and you happen to see us, honestly, come up and say hi. So, no matter what we're doing, we love to meet you guys. That's really what I want to do at Gen Con. Like, play games, yes, but meeting some of the people we talk to on a regular basis, face to face, is like the highlight of my con visit every time.
Yep. I'm gonna walk up to Bairnt and be like, "Do you know who you are?" So what are we talking about?
I'm talking. Point to Bairnt.
So what are we talking about today?
we're going to be talking about. I kind of want to do like a little ongoing series, and the series being just game recommendations for different styles. I think it'd be kind of fun. So this one we're gonna talk about higher play count games, like just some games, not necessarily the best of the best, but ones that we enjoy when it comes to higher player count, and kind of talk about why. And so we'll do higher player count this week. Another week we might do like dungeon crawls, for example, or solo games. So on the chat, if you guys are watching this live or after the fact, if you have suggestions what you see next time, let us know. We'll try to tackle that one. So, hey, Raphael. Welcome. Okay. So, let's dive into some higher player count games. So, I think when we think about higher player count games, oftentimes we think about party games. And I think that is very true. I think those look great for higher player counts, but I also think there's good games that aren't party games per se, right? And I will also want to try to cover some of those as well. But first,
define party game.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out how to nail that one down. So party game tends to be very simple rule set. Very simple rule set where, you can explain the game in 5 minutes or less, honestly. And just get
And
going.
it's also a very social experience.
Very social, exactly. It requires the game itself doesn't have a lot of mechanics to it. It requires, like Bairnt said, the social element is what drives the fun. And since we talked about that, let's bring up an example. One game that I think is one of the best party games out there. That is Just One.
This made Peter's #1 game that year came out.
It did. I know we gave him crap about it, but it is a really good game. It is fantastic.
Yeah, he didn't do too bad on that one.
Yeah. You've played this one, right, Bairnt?
I have that game.
Good. And Derrick, I'm assuming you haven't played this one yet.
I have no. If it's party game, in fact, it means that there are a lot of people. I seem to be a solo gamer, and that's not by choice. So
we're gonna dedicate one day at Gen Con to party games with Kanji. That's what we're gonna
the reason, and that's the tough part. As an extrovert, it's very difficult to be a solo gamer, but it is what it is.
But yeah, so Just One, if you're not familiar with this one, it is basically a word association game. It's really simple. Each turn, there is a person who has a card in front of them, but they don't see it. Everyone sees the card. They pick a number on the card that tells them which word they have to guess. And then everyone else at the table will have to write down a single word to associate to that one word. So, example, let's say the word is wizard. I might write down Potter, or magic, or something like that, or Hogwarts, or who knows what it is, right? Doesn't matter what it is, any single word. And before the clues are given, you have to compare all the clues to each other, and if any clues match, they are removed from the pool, and the remaining clues are shown to the guesser. So it's a really fun game of like, oh, this is an obvious clue, but who else is going to write this down? I don't know. Maybe I can't. Maybe I have to do more obscure clues, and it gets to be really, really fun.
I feel like I've heard of this game before through another game, like not this game Just One, but other games that do this.
There's a lot of word association games out there for sure.
Yes,
for sure.
Like Boulder Dash and things like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
But this one's excellent. And it's co-op too. That's why it's on this list.
Yeah.
Which is really fun. Basically, you're trying to see, you got a deck of cards and trying to see how many you can get right, how many points at the end. Though honestly, no one really cares about the points. So
no, we don't even keep track. We just keep playing till we want to stop.
Yeah. So it's a really fun one, and it's cheap. So I highly recommend this one. I actually agree with Peter on this one. Maybe not game of the year necessarily, but it is an excellent game. Big fan of this one.
Yeah, we've played it so much that we've gone through a whole set of erase markers already.
Yep, me too.
And on to our next sets. Thank goodness my wife's a teacher. She can just bring those home like water. So that fast.
Hey, Jen. Hey, Jen. What's going on?
Hey, Jen.
So many people in the chat. It's so amazing to have everybody here.
Yeah, this one we've run out of ink on ours as well, just because you played so often. And the nice thing is you can even if you have like multiple copies of like the game, you can combine the whiteboards or whatever you need, or just have whiteboards nearby.
Even sometimes just with pieces of paper, people just write what they want on the paper and flip it over.
Exactly. It gets harder the more people you have, honestly, because you
Okay.
have more overlap.
Yep,
But it
which is
also gets really silly too. So
yes,
yes. So I guess like what makes this game good?
yep.
I think the fact that like I was able to explain it right now, super simply, is a huge boon to this one. And I've had really good luck with this one, playing with all sorts of groups. Like every group I've introduced it to have really enjoyed it because it's so simple. And it's more about trying to learn how people think about the games and approach the table as opposed to getting bogged down by mechanics. So that's
Okay.
what makes it a great game for high player counts.
Cool.
I saw another one mentioned earlier. Kim mentioned this one, Telestrations, which I think is also fantastic. This game has never failed me.
Illustrations.
What's that?
I have never played this.
You never played Illustrations? Oh man!
I love how Steve's like. I love Steve's reaction whenever you say haven't done anything. You
no, he has to look at you incredulously. How dare you?
How dare you? This one is fantastic. This one isn't. I would say this is not a game though. Let's put it that way. It's an activity. So the premise of this is Pictionary crossed with telephone. That's it.
Oh,
so
I thought you
said
telephone.
Where you like whisper someone's ear, and then they whisper someone else's ear, and at the end of the line, it's something completely different.
Oh gosh, if somebody's a bad artist, this game becomes hilarious.
That's exactly right. So this one, you write down a word, you pass it, the person draws a picture of that word, or a phrase, doesn't matter, and then they pass just a picture, and then the person writes on the word or phrase, and keeps alternating words and phrases, phrases, and pictures. And at the end of it, you see what comes out, and it's normally hilarious.
If you want to make it really fun, you should do it. I had to do a little while ago. Do it blindfolded.
Oh, blindfolded.
I had to do that blindfolded.
Oh, yes, I remember that. That. That was the Allsword one, right?
That was unbelievable, man.
Oh, yeah, that was fun.
But there's a moment where I had to draw a picture blindfolded in that game, which I never, ever in my wildest dreams thought would have ever been incorporated into that game.
Steve.
Glorious moment.
Okay, so bad artistry just makes the game better.
It does.
Right.
You can't call me out here because when I play this game, I put down the first thing that comes to my mind, which isn't always accurate, but it makes it really funny. So she always hates being after me. She's like, "What did you draw? What did you write?" Because I'll like my phrase might be like a polar bear on a rocket-powered sled or something silly like that, just to see what people draw. And
so these are considered party games.
These are definitely party games. Yes.
Okay, so I have a game. I don't know if you have it in your list. If you do, we'll stop there and then wait to get to it.
I'm sure he does.
Go ahead,
but the game that I have in mind is Codenames. Is that a party game?
I think so. Yes, and I have that ready to go right here.
Oh, look at that.
Hey, Andrew, you can talk about a game.
I've played this game. So it says 2-player. Really?
This is the duet version, the co-op version.
Oh, okay. I played this game at an office party a couple years ago, and it was fun and very interesting and very funny because it's how you play the game is groups, right? Two groups, however big you want them. One, and then there's two people who are kind of trying to give out the clues. They'll see a name or some type of word, and then they have to describe that word to what's displayed on the bottom. Like they can only use two things. One is a word, the other is a number. So for instance, if there are three, that's like it says North America, Europe, and Antarctica, you could say continent 3. And then the group that's going has to pick that. And if they pick the wrong one and it flips over, the other side can get a point. Or if they find the spy, the game automatically ends with the other side winning.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like this point thing to go through, and it's a lot of fun. I actually had a good time with that one.
Have you played the duet version of it? Was it the co-op version?
No.
Yeah, I think it's way better.
I've just played the base game.
I played Codenames Harry Potter. It was not. We did not find enjoyment in it.
The Harry Potter one?
Why not?
Too weird, the words or something, or
I think it was maybe we were playing completely wrong, and I have to go back and read the rule book.
I could do
Because
it.
it's super easy.
I do recommend the duet version of it, the co-op one, because we found with the regular one, because there was like one person giving clues and one person giving clues for the other side, like it can kind of like bog down a little bit as they're trying to figure out what clue to give. But in duet, everyone's a clue giver, and there's also a lot more. I guess they're called like the assassins or something like that, where if you guess this word, the game immediately ends in a loss. There's like 3 of them in the co-op version, so it's like a lot harder to dodge those.
I found the trick to playing this game was play with people who you don't know.
Yeah, it's really fun.
Because if you play with Robin, you and Robin know each other, right? So therefore,
I think that might have been our problem.
Yeah, she could just say something that is kind of the inside joke between you two, and boom, you've got it.
Yep.
Right.
And usually when I play,
if I ever said the word something like ducks on a plane, then she would know exactly what I'm talking about. That is not a thing. I made that all up.
The other really nice thing about this one, makes it a really good party game, is that people can come and go at any time. Like you can literally be in the middle of a game and people walk in the door.
Walk out. Hey,
choose a side, sit down, start playing. No big deal. Or I gotta go. No problem. See you later. Right?
Yeah.
So
that's true.
So that's all I had. We talked about how fun solo game or these party games are and things like this, but I know we also wanted to talk about what is it about these games that make them good? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like what is the mechanic? Like you said, the last one, it was like the ease of entry into what is it? What did we just talk about? Party of 5 or something? What was the game we just talked about?
Just one.
Just one. There you go. Not 5.
Party of 5.
It was a number.
A TV show.
I had a number in the word. That's half the battle, right?
Bionic 6. That's what it's called, right? The A-Team. The A-Team. It's called the A-Team. Just throw out random TV shows. And we're off the rails. All right.
I used to watch that show all the time. It's so amazing. I go back to these 80s shows now. I'd say like 95% of the 80s shows that they tried to bring back, like, no, they're just bad shows. They were bad shows when
they were bad shows then. We just accepted
it. They're like, we have the remastered, unedited version of like the A-Team. It's like, oh, nope, this is still not good. Still not the greatest show. Let's try MacGyver. Nope, still not that great. That show shouldn't have been made either.
Raphael has on there, said, I don't know if this will be on topic. When are we ever on topic? But what do you find to be the challenge playing party games or even multiplayer games? Is it the teach or the attention span?
It's funny you should mention that. I love this question because that's actually one of the things when it comes to party games that I gravitate towards. I gravitate towards games where I was trying to think of a mechanic that is similar to almost all the party games I have, and it's simultaneous play that has including everybody at all times. Because when you start moving away from that, that's when, yes, you're going to lose people and things of that nature. Even like bigger games, like I was thinking of games, I know it's not a party game because I was also thinking of higher player count games that aren't party games, but almost any like card drafting game. I know I've been playing like It's a Beautiful World a lot, but we've been playing with 5 players. And so that's kind of, I would already say is a higher player count as anytime you go over 4. But being able to do simultaneous play in almost any game that once you get a higher player count, I think really keeps the game moving and is really important. That's kind of the deal. And I think you're seeing that in the games we've already talked about here as well.
I agree completely. You need to have that simultaneous play. And I think because to hit on Raphael's question more directly, the attention span is probably the biggest hurdle with higher player count games. Definitely. Like the teach, you can get through it. It's fine. It's obviously better to have a quicker teach than anything else, and that's why the party games do so well. Especially because different people understand things differently. You might have to repeat a few rules or point out a few things. But yeah, absolutely agree with you, Bairnt. The simultaneous play is a huge reason why these things work.
Oh, and that's actually an interesting thing that Bairnt said, that higher player count means higher than 4. Is that the definition of that?
I feel it
would
for
say
arenas. That's my definition.
Okay.
I would say, especially like 6. I think 6 and higher is definitely very high player counts. 5,
Okay.
I think 5 is like the borderline for me, where I would consider high player counts.
It's
okay. There's a game that if I do go to like some friends that I would take, but it's a 4-player game, but it's that simultaneous, gotta be engaged, super social game. But since it's 4, I guess it doesn't hit the higher player count.
well, I mean, that's not the point. I think any game where for you, 4 players could be a high player count.
It can be, yes.
You know what I mean? I mean, it's
Okay.
everybody's going to have their own number. I don't think I'm ever going. I mean, unless it's a party game with people that don't game. I'm not going to see more than maybe 5 people sitting around my table at any one time that
Okay.
really do
Okay.
games. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like even trying to get when my family gets together. I mean, we're talking. It's the party game. What is it? The one game to rule them all. What game are we talking about?
Just one?
Thank you. It'd be like just one.
But in the stream, he'll
Now
get it.
you're just crossing stuff.
Well, you know, maybe that's part of the game. All right. We also got, we'll crack out some other games that are similar. Like we'll get like werewolves, another one that happens a lot. That's another one that we do. So it just because it's easy to teach, people understand it. You can get a lot of people involved in it, stuff like that. But if I were to bring out anything like It's a Wonderful World or Seven Nations or Seven Wonders, Seven Nations, Seven Wonders, now I'm thinking of songs, then those would just instantly go by my family members as like big games. No, not even if it's slightly easy to understand, they wouldn't be able to do it.
Yeah.
So the only time we ever have more than 5 would be at a social gathering, most likely of family members and things of that nature. And so at that point, you'd have to bring out these type of games where people just don't get it.
All right.
It's also been interesting too. This is a little bit off topic. Well, so what we do here, where if you have a bigger group, let's say you've got 6 people, or maybe even 8. With those numbers, it's very possible to play 2 games at the same time, right? Hey, well, a game over here and a game over here. In my experience, that almost never happens.
Right.
Like normally, the whole group wants to be part of the same game, no matter what it is, and I find that very interesting. No, it's not necessarily a good or bad thing. It's just something I've been observed.
It means that I brought the better game.
So there's a game. The name is escaping me, and if I go look it up, you'll hear the clicking on my keyboard. So I don't want to do that. But if the chat remembers or you two remember, there is a game where you have an iPad and you hold it up and it says something, and everyone has to give you clues to what it is. You can't see what it is.
Yeah. There's a lot of versions of that one.
And it's a game that like you hold up and it's just a word, and like if you get the word right, you do the iPad down and pull it back up and it does another word, and if you get it wrong, you flip it up and come back and it's another word.
Oh, interesting. I've seen it played with cards. I didn't know. I've never seen.
Heads up, Kim. Heads up.
Go.
Heads up. That's the name of the game. That game is a full immersion. Like everybody is engaged, and it goes to like 16 and above player count. Like anybody can play.
Right.
Yes.
I've seen it done in like parties too, where you go to a party and you get like a name tag, and then you also give you a card, and you walk around, and the first thing you do is try walking around and people having them give you clues, right? It's pretty fun way to break the ice. So Helen DeGeneres, yeah, she does a heads up one for sure, Matthew. Yep.
So. I know somebody, I think it was Snow, who talked about Mysterium. It's a game I've never played that I know is also a really big hit for a lot.
Heads up in line. That's a great idea.
What?
Jen has a comment. There were people playing heads up in line in front of me at Disney World. That's a great idea.
So they're just there as a group doing it, waiting in the line.
That's amazing. I need to do that.
That's so much better than just standing there eating the railing.
Wait.
You don't do that? You don't like sit there and lick the railing while you're waiting in line?
Things that I never thought I would have to tell another human being.
Don't lick the railing.
You've added to the list.
My son must have been like, I think like probably 5 or 6 last time I went to Disney, and maybe even 4. And it was like, and let's put this, like Disney shut down 2 days from COVID after we were there. And so we knew about this like illness that was going around, and we're like, okay, no, stand in line, just hold on the railing. Just actually don't even touch the railing because we don't know what this is going on with this illness. And I look over and Bennett's over there. Or just lick the railing. Sure, perfect, fantastic. Just no problem.
Gross.
Let's kick that immune system into action.
Pickle, to be honest, that explains a lot about Bairnt.
Okay, let's go back to what you brought up here.
Yep.
So, we've been talking about a lot of party
that
games.
one queued up.
I think this is one of the non-party games that you mentioned, Bairnt, Mr.
I've never played it.
You never played it? Oh, okay.
No, Snow talked about it, I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this is
a
really good one. This one, the premise is you are being visited by ghosts every night. So one person's a ghost. They literally can't talk the whole game. And the ghost's job is to try to get people to discover, like, the murder weapon location and the person? Yes, I think 3 of them. And the reason, how they give these clues is through these very whimsical artwork, full artwork cards. They're like tarot-sized cards. And they've got lots of random stuff on it. And so maybe because there's lots of green in this card, I might give it to you to try to get you to pick the jungle scene, right? Or whatever it is, right? There's lots of green in the jungle. But you don't know that. I'm just giving you a green card. You could look at the card and be like, oh, there's a gold coin in this card. That must mean it's at the bank. I'm like, no! That's not what I meant! But you can't say anything.
Sounds like a game of stress.
It is so fun. This game is a lot of fun.
Like when you explain something and someone's not getting, you're like, damn it!
Thanks, Snow. Yep, person, location, and weapon. Yep.
Person, location. It sounds interesting.
Yeah, it is basically, Matthew put it, Dixit meets Clue. If you know what Dixit looks like with the cards, it's basically that. It's really fun.
Yeah, I played Dixit once, I believe.
Yeah, same type of artwork. I remember playing this at Gen Con one time. We bought it, and I swear we played it like 3 or 4 times a night. Every single night we were at Gen Con. We just couldn't stop playing this game. It was so fun.
Awesome.
I was not there.
But yeah, this one, and here's a good question. Like, this one I don't consider to be a party game.
Why not?
No. And now that's what I'm trying to get. Like, why is this not a party game? It's definitely simultaneous play because the ghost gives out cards, and you can look at the cards, you can talk about it. Everyone's involved. They're their turns, but it's just more like everyone takes the same phases in their turns, but that way.
Okay.
But I don't think it's a party game because there's more. The rules are probably more involved than a quick 5-minute explanation. This one's probably more like a 10-minute explanation.
So this is perfect. So in this, while we're talking about this, we define what party game is because it says it can be different for everybody, sure. Right. But I think there's got to be some core components that someone would be like that everyone can coalesce on and say these are the things that are part of a party game. So we talked about higher player count, but this has a higher player count up to 7. Yet it's not considered a party game. The learn time of it, I see the weight on there. Usually all the party games you've pulled up, the weights are in the 1s, right? So the complexities are not that complex. This one is 1.9, so it barely shears in there, but it's not a party game. The play time is about 42 minutes, so it's not long, but it's not a party game. So what makes this one not fit that?
Yeah, I struggle with this one because it's not. It's no even mentioned it here. The rules are actually very simple, right? But there's more involved, I would say, in the game.
Well, if it's Dixit, and Dixit's a party game,
maybe this is a party game. I don't know. Maybe.
Oh, this Dixit's not a party game, or is it?
I don't know. Would you consider Dixit a party game?
I don't even know what Dixit is.
You get clues and you have to pick an image. I played it once, but
I think I agree with the case says here. It's borderline party game. I think this is probably like, this is a sliding scale. This is right on the edge of like not a party game and like yes.
You say it's walking the line. Isn't that like a song? I walk the line.
I think it's. Snow says, I think it's only because one has to be the ghost.
I'll mute myself.
Ghost maybe isn't a party game but I think it is a party game. That's true. That's a good one.
Bairnt, we love you, man. You better not ever change. You're muted now. We can't hear you if you're talking.
That way I would when I don't make sense, you don't have to worry about it.
So yeah,
Steve, you haven't brought in card games yet.
Yes, I have one I could bring in.
Please do.
And I know Snow's on here, and she'll
Uno.
agree with me.
Now, first off, yes, I would say Uno is a party game. You can play with tons of people. You can have a ton of fun. That's not on my list. We have Uno cards here in my house, though.
But Uno has and I'll ask y'all this before you jump to the next one. When it comes to Uno, are you following rules as written, or are you following the real rules of the game?
Okay, I'm not one of those ones that I never like to play Uno as an infinite loop. Is that what you're wondering about?
No, the one where it chains. So if I put down a draw 2, if you put down a draw 2 on me, I can put down a draw 2, which means someone else will have to draw 4 unless they have another draw 2.
I don't play that rule.
Oh my god, what? That was the way I grew up playing Uno. It was stacking.
It's only that way for like a 2-player game, though, right?
No. It's for as many as you can go. That's the way that I was taught Uno as a kid. And so when someone told me that wasn't the way that you're supposed to play it, and they said like the rules as written was, nope, you just put down a draw 2 and you just got to deal with it.
Deal with it.
So there was no mitigation.
No mitigation.
So I was like, I said, nope. Yep. That is not my childhood. I'm sorry.
That's okay. My love for Uno ended when I was playing Uno and people were like, oh, I'm going to draw a card. I'm like, okay, draws a card. Keeps on drawing. I'm like, you haven't found a yellow card yet? Oh, I could find a yellow card, but I know that you're going to win if you play your next card. So I'm looking for that draw for a while. I'm like, what? No, there isn't an infinite loop. You're not going to infinitely
No, they have to stop. The rule is if you find it, you have to play it.
No, we play the rules as written, but I found that there's different Unos at different rule sets, which is interesting. So it's not consistent.
Check it out. I'm on location today. I am recording on location. I'm in my dining room. Dan wondered why I was taken out of my basement and who kidnapped me. That's the deal.
All right, I derailed. Go ahead, Steve. What was next game?
All right, let's move on to...
You're gonna go to the crew. Did you put that one in there?
I didn't.
You're ruining my life.
I can, but let's go to a different one. I know that Snow will appreciate.
Oh yeah,
Samurai Spirit.
Oh yeah, I played this game once.
Yep. It goes up to 7 people. It is definitely in the higher play count one. This one I would say is definitely not a party game. And the main reason I say that is because this game is all about combos. It is simplified. A lot of people when they play it, they think it's simplified down to like cooperative blackjack, which it kind of is in a sense. But the premise is the theme is based upon the Seven Samurai movie. If you guys are familiar with that one. But the premise is you are each samurai who are trying to defend this village from invaders, and so you're trying to go through a deck of cards that's a set of invaders, and you are choosing when to fight and when to defend and try to hit your the special value on your chart, which lets you trigger special abilities. If you take too much damage, you turn into a beast, animal form, which is really fun, which is even more powerful. But if you take too much damage in beast form, you are eliminated and everyone loses the game. You have to basically survive 3 rounds and keep the village alive at the end. And like I said, the main reason why I say this is not a party game is because of the combos. It is very heavy combos and trying to figure out how can I use my power to leverage off your power, maybe even change this other power is quite fun. So
yes, I played this game once with Peter and Steve.
I have not played this game. I've never heard of this game before.
Steve will teach you.
Yeah, I have it. I love this one.
More than 5 minutes to learn though, so it's not a party game.
That's true. Yeah, Snow says it's not a party game. I think this one's more complex. There's more intricacies in it. Like I feel like a big thing about party games is associations. A lot of them have associations where like we talk about Mysterium, where it's like this card association with this item on the board. And we talk about Just One is word associations. Codenames, also word associations, right? A lot of the party games have associations involved that are outside the game itself generally, or something like that. And this one doesn't have that at all. There's no association with this one. It's just literally combos. So
Okay.
Combo association. No.
Yeah, it's a very unknown Antoine Bowser game. It was his sequel or the game after he made Ghost Stories. He said so.
Okay.
Ghost Stories was his first one. He made this one, and then I can't remember what he made after this one. But it's a really small box, and that's probably why Snow has it. It's really not really condensed and packed game. So.
Okay. What you got?
Yeah, and it's easier to play than Ghost Story. Last Bastion. Thank you. I knew it was. I was trying to remember that name of that one. It's the game that followed this one. But yeah, card game, really fun, really interesting. We could talk about Crew. Crew's a good one.
It is a good one.
I'll pull that one up.
I've seen that box a ton. I have no idea what I've never.
It's a trick taking game. I played a lot of these when I was growing up. I played a lot of Pinochle, a lot of was it 500 things of this nature. So this is a co-op trick taking game. So you're working together to what you're doing is you get your hand of cards and your goal. What's the player count on that, Steve?
Up to 5.
Yeah. Okay. So yes, you can. We played this with 5.
Yeah.
Your goal is to complete an objective that a mystery deck gives you. For example, it could say, take all the yellow cards. So then in the process of playing the game, whoever has that take all the yellow cards, objective, their goal of the table is to try to make that happen. Instead of most trick-taking games being who can take the most tricks, the trick-taking part of this is that you're working together to complete the objective that the game has presented to you. Really enjoyed this game. I'm a huge fan of these kind of games. This is one of those games that I wish I could get in front of my family because they like trick-taking games. But again, now we're looking at teaching being a little over probably about 5 minutes. So you're not necessarily going to lose people, but you would have to have the people invested in learning it. But again, I don't think the learn time is more than 10 minutes in this situation. So again, it's easy to teach. Let's put it this way. These are the kind of games I wish that all the games were like, because all the games I own have like a 50 to 60 page rule book involved with it. So this is like cakewalk when I'm trying to teach games like this. Yeah. So I really enjoy this game. I got to play this with Steve once. It was super amazing, super fun.
It was great.
You'll have to bring it to Gen Con so I can try it out.
No problem. I'll buy you a copy of Gen Con. It's like $20.
You see that count on there that says 2 to 5? You will buy it for me, and I will play it like whenever I see you. Because it's not soloable. However, it looks like this game was. I'm looking at the publisher, and that's the publisher that makes the escape room games, right?
Yes, correct.
Yes.
Cosmos or something. Cosmos. I always want to call it Cosmos because I used to play a game that had a character named Cosmos.
Cosmos. It's
that is
because I played that game too. I played that game too.
That was my favorite role play. Like back then, it was like all those. That's when all those JRPGs were coming out, and that was my favorite one to this day. I will never ever have a better experience than that game.
I'll tell you what it's called. Xenosaga.
Yes, it was. It was called Xenosaga. And it was the first game that actually had 3 parts to it, and they came out a year in place of each other. And so I would play through number 1, and then I'd have to wait. Number 2 came out, and play through number 2, and wait, and number 3 came out. And it's not one of those ones that lets you down like Final Fantasy Lightning or whatever game that was like 13, I think, is what the Lightning series was. Yeah, that was a. But this one, like every time, it got better. The story got even more in depth, more expansive. It was like it even climaxed with this huge, giant, awesome ending. And it was one of my favorite endings from a video game still to this day.
That's awesome.
It was Xenosaga.
Awesome. Yeah, I played the first one. I only played the first one.
And I love the fact that each one of them had like these super awesome abilities, and like you'd sit there and like they'd fire, and they get in you have to program in the buttons that they're the moves, just like you did in the old Final Fantasy games or something, where you'd have to hit the buttons. So it'd be like, okay, he's got enough to do like 4 things. So X, X, Y, and X, and it's like bang, bang, and they jump in the air and they do this cinematic like angelic requiem, shoots out all these guns, like it did like this whole like anime little small scene or something. And I must have seen that scene like 7,622 times. And every time he did it, I was just like, yeah, go get him. My favorite game series of all time, I'd say.
I've never heard of Bloodbound. I don't know what that is. There is a game that is very quick to play, and think
12 people.
I think it might be 5-player. I'll have to look it up or whatnot. But
Is
it's called.
Bloodbound, is that like football outside without pads?
No, it looks like it's a vampire
12
type game,
people?
6 to 12 players. So that's interesting. No, I've not played this one. I'm assuming this is competitive.
I have no clue.
Yeah, I don't know about this one at all.
Okay, so if
Oh, it's
anybody's
like
bored,
it's like it's
go
a
find an
bluffing
emulator
game.
with Xenosaga on it and spend the next, like, I don't know, 90 to 100 years of your life playing that game.
Look, Steve, if you can look at real quick, look at 5-minute dungeon. I want to see if
Yeah.
it's 5-player count. If it is, then it hits that party game thing. It is. That's the go-to game whenever I go to meet
5-player count.
people that I take
Yeah.
with me.
I played that one. I've played that before. Yes, that's a good one. Thanks. That's great, Kanji. I love it.
Yeah, this one. Yep, up to 5 players.
Yep.
So this one is the game is as it is. The game takes 5 minutes to play. It takes 1 minute to teach and 5 minutes to play.
Yep.
It's very fast paced. Everybody's involved. It's a game where it's a matching game. Basically, you're all trying to get to the dungeon and beat the boss, and you have 5 minutes to do it. There's an actual timer that counts down. And you flip one card at a time, trying to match symbols on that card. Or you'll run into obstacles or things that tell you, hey, you discard your entire hand. You could only have X amount of cards in your hand at a time based on your player count. And each character has a special ability that says, like, discard your entire hand to clear an obstacle or defeat an enemy. The trick is, if you ever run out of cards in your deck, you're out of the game. And everyone has to complete without you, unless someone has an ability to put cards back in your hand.
Right.
And so it's a lot of fun. This is the game I introduce people to, like, into gaming with. If it's, hey, we want to play this game. Hey, we've never gamed before. What do you got? I break this game out all the time.
Have you played the Marvel version of it, Derrick?
No.
I have that too. We have Marvel one.
Yeah.
I actually enjoyed 5-minute dungeon better, but it's a neat twist.
Yeah, I think they both have the pros and cons. Like, I think 5-minute Marvel improved on, like, the setup time, because you don't have to
player elimination. I don't think exists in the Marvel one.
Right.
Oh, okay.
But the dungeon has more
one big
intricacies.
deck in the middle you're drawing from, but you can always choose. They also have a 10 side deck of your character, so each character has like an own set of cards that are very unique to that character.
Right.
And so you're drawing from the regular deck, but then at any time you can choose, like, say you can have a hand of 4 cards. I could draw 3 from that, 1 from the special cards or something. And special cards kind of a couple more attack symbols as opposed to the regular one. Or it might have
this one. I would stay with this one. And what's fun is that this one is very kid friendly, approachable, and funny. So you're like, the first boss is the baby barbarian that you have to fight, and it's a lot of fun. I don't know. Since this is is this considered a party game?
Yeah.
I think you're on borderline here again. I wouldn't say it's a party game because it is one where so I think, like, okay, so wow, I love this question. What is a party game? Where do you put this? Where do you draw your line? You know what I mean? I think there's enough mechanics in this where this isn't a party game. I think that another way to explain a party game would be having maybe one, like, single mechanic that is the thing that's driving the game. Where this might have a few other things, like you got, okay, this card does a certain thing. This card does a certain, like, there's some cards that instead of just matching symbols the whole time, you also got extra cards that are doing things, and you've got then even some of the bosses are doing things to you and things like that. So it does add a level of complexity above just matching symbols.
Okay.
If the only thing was matching symbols, I would say it's a party game because everybody knows, like, all I do is match symbols. Okay, I don't have to invest like my brain into this. I can just kind of dump cards on the table. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Where like that, what is it, party of one again or whatever? All you're doing is, like you said, it's word association. All this is words. There's not really, you're not like, okay, I have to do something with once if I use a word that's over 4 letters, then something else happens versus one if I use 6 letters. And
but do you feel that the extra mechanic is so complex that it shears away from the matching?
I don't think it would shear away from people learning the game. Like you said, it only takes about a minute to teach it. It still only takes a minute to teach it. But there are probably, when you're first playing this game with somebody, if you play party of one. I know I keep using this as an example.
Just one.
Is it just one? Sorry. Okay, just one.
He's killing off cast members.
You can't do it.
Just one. All you have to do is just say. I mean, you can. It's all you do is you draw your card, you put it out there, and they okay. Give me a number 4. 4. Okay. No, nobody's played the game before. Now you go write something that makes me say this. That's all you have to teach. And then they go, okay, then I'll write it down. Okay, that's all I do is write a word down. Yeah, well, I'm good. I can do this game. We can do this game. Okay, now that let's see them. Okay, so you all wrote different things, so you're good. But if let's say those two people wrote the same, you'd have to erase it. That's it. You're done. You're done teaching. So people could instantly. It's like Peter says. We haven't gotten to this one either. It's what's that one he loves to play where you can't tell each other what numbers are coming next.
The game. The mind.
The mind. That's another one he loves to teach because he can walk up, deals everybody a card and goes, okay, we got to put these in order.
Yep.
Go ahead and play your cards.
That's it.
It's like, okay, I mean, you're not really even teaching it. People are automatically starting to play the game. So I think a lot of when it comes to party games, you can just boom, hey, do this. Oh, okay. And then they're instantly playing. We're like for some of these games like Mysterium, even 5-minute dungeon, which is, like you said, takes 5 minutes and 1 minute to teach. You still have to at least do this teaching mechanic where you have to at least say like, okay, so these are your characters. Each one's got a little special ability that they can do once a game. We're going to try to match symbols as these cards come out. I'm going to build these decks and get these ready to go and things like that. Does that make sense?
Well, does that rules out code names from being a party game? Because you have to do more than just say, guess this thing, right? You have to teach more and the consequences. Or
sure, then that's fine.
No. I mean, I'm just kind of curious.
I approach it a little bit differently, actually. I approach it because this.
No, Steve, you're supposed to say it, Bairnt, you're wrong, and then go from there.
Steve never says that.
I just approach it a little differently. I think. I don't think you're necessarily wrong here, but I would say the 5-minute dungeon aspect of it, what makes this difficult for be a pure party game is the fact that it's real time. With real time, it's not a difficult concept, but it's difficult to execute when bringing in new players because you can't really pause and talk about something or answer the question. You have to make sure everyone knows what's going on before the game starts, right? And as the game goes, getting ramped up to be quick enough in the game is difficult. So it's got that. It's not like it's hard to understand. It's just difficult to play when you're first getting into it, I guess what I'm trying to get at.
So okay. So do you feel that it's well, it's tough because
I'm not laughing. You guys are reading some of the comments. They're like, again, just sitting here going, Diddler party of one. I can't say the names right. And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you guys as you were talking by laughing, but Yan is right. I wouldn't put the mind as a party game. I definitely wouldn't. I was just thinking of a way of games that you can teach super fast without really even explaining the rules.
Ooh, Jonathan's got a good point.
Okay.
Werewolf has a lot going on too when you first teach, but makes sense quickly.
Maybe that's
same with 5-minute dungeon.
Yeah.
Same with code names. Code names to me, it takes you time to teach it, but once you do, like from the first, as soon as someone takes a turn, you get the game.
I think that's maybe that's what it is. Like, even if the game takes a little bit to teach, it is not necessarily the teach that's a problem, but like the ramp up to playing it. It has to be a very short ramp up.
And this in itself is the interesting part of labeling what's considered a party game and what's not. It's so subjective.
Right.
And I think someone had asked me once in the One Stop chat saying, hey Kenji, what's your top 5 dungeon crawlers? And my response was, what's a dungeon crawler to you, right?
Yeah.
I could tell you games that have no dungeon in it, but you'd call the dungeon crawler. So
I know that could be a dungeon crawler. You're going through revealing and destroying cards and getting to the end and beating the boss.
So that's why I mean, like, it's just more when we talk about party games, we've switched so many times on saying what a party game is and it isn't. It started off with higher player count, quick to get to the table, total social engagement. and now it's shift to, so here's the game that has that, and it's shift to, well, no, it has to have this one mechanic, and that's it. So it's, where do we land on this?
I think associations in the game is a pretty clear indicator that it is a party game.
Okay.
But I don't think that is exclusive to being a party game either. Like, meaning
Okay.
that, like, you could be a party game without associations as well.
I think you also have to read your room.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's a big
That's
one.
another big deal when it comes to like a party game to somebody could be different from somebody else. Like
Right.
if you were to bring 5 Minute Dungeon to Gen Con and have to teach it to people at Gen Con that are avid gamers, it'd probably be a party game because they'd be like, oh yeah, this is gonna be great, let's do it. You know what I mean? But if you're bringing it to a table of people who have never played a game before, they'd be like, I don't, why do I need to do, when do I do that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, funny enough, I did do that. I took it to, I was invited to the public library here because they were trying to start a board game club thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the game I took. And that was the game everybody played because they were like, they'd never played it. They weren't gamers.
Oh.
And they played that and they were glued to it and it became the party game. So that's why I was like, what? Yeah. This is my, as I said, Jan, this is my go-to game for people who've never played a board game.
And this, I'm probably totally not doing justice here. Maybe I should stop using the word 5 Minute Dungeon in all my explanations. I just mean like it always seems to be easier to bring a game to, like, my family is the one I usually use the most because my parents, we grew up never playing board games. It wasn't a thing. Like my parents were not board gamers. They never really liked games in general. They usually just kind of sat around and chit chatted and had social interactions more than just making something that helped us that did social. You know what I mean? So for me, I need to find something I can get out there that would grab their attention very quickly to be able to be like, oh yeah, I could do this. This actually seems like a pretty cool thing to do. You know what I mean? But if there's any moment where I see like the head turning to the side, or something, like, okay,
you
what's
gotta read
the wrong game?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like it's a really fine line for me to find a game that works like that. Now, of course, my nieces and nephews, they are more into games at this point, so they're actually the ones we usually play the games with, as opposed to like my parents and things of that nature, because they're just not, that's just not their thing. So it's hard. So I need to find games that are that fast, that can catch people really quickly, only have one thing they have to deal with, and that usually can keep them going. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So
if I were to bring a whole set of party games to a different area, I might bring 5 Minute Dungeon because I know they would enjoy that kind of thing, because that's more their speed.
Yeah. So Snow, that you call them muggles is hilarious. I've never heard anyone call a non-gamer a muggle. So Catan and Carcassonne, are those party games or no?
No, those are Gateway, that's what we're looking for. Thank you. Gateway games. Yep.
Okay.
Is that the next thing we got to do next week? Gateway games?
We get a gateway, yeah.
Anyway, so I know you have others on your list.
Sword and Sorcery, Gateway game.
Good Lord.
I just want to see Steve like fall over.
KDM, a gateway game.
Oh, God.
Good to go. Gateway to boss battlers. KDM, good to go.
So last weekend I wasn't able to partake in this co-op chat because I was hosting a party for my brother, bachelor party actually, and he requested to bring a game for his party, and he asked me to bring Zombicide, which is an interesting approach to this, right? So my brother, I've got two brothers, and we all grew up playing games. We played Magic the Gathering a lot. We go to like tournaments together, and we played Hero Clicks a lot. So these are very high complex games, right? So they're very accustomed to that type of stuff. Zombicide is commonly referred to as a beer and pretzels game.
Yeah, that's another topic we can talk about.
Another topic, right? So this is another wrench in the discussion. Like, it's not exactly a party game because it is fairly complex, but honestly, you're just chucking dice. There's not a whole lot going on in this. It's very simple, the actions you're doing. And it's also longer, and this one plays up to like a dozen people if you really want to go crazy. I think it can be quite bad. But we played with 6 players. And I even, which was interesting, I even have house rules to make it work simultaneous. So
simultaneous tournaments.
And
I wouldn't call it a party game because it's not simultaneous. Like
Right.
there's a downtime.
It's not simultaneous, and there's a lot of downtime in this normally. So I have rules to make it simultaneous. And so we played with those rules, and it was interesting because the other members in the group weren't as familiar with games, and some of them didn't understand what simultaneous turns meant. Right? I was telling them, hey, by the way, you can take your action right now, and then you can take his action right now. No big deal. It doesn't matter. But what wound up happening is like, oh, I'm gonna take my turn. I'm gonna do all my actions. I'm like, okay, you can do that. That's fine. I'm gonna take my turn. I'm gonna do all my actions. Like, okay, but you guys can do one action. Like it doesn't. And it was interesting that some people struggled with that approach. Right? They weren't experienced with that. So I think that also stems into the subjectivity of what is a party game, right? Because it's what you're exposed to, right? If you're exposed to lots of different types of games like this, it might be a lot easier to ramp up on it. So yeah.
Okay.
So I'm wondering, when it comes to games, how many people are going to try to figure out how many of the games Matthew is talking about are actually real games? Or
I was trying to figure that out.
I saw him. I saw him post cockroach poker, and I'm like,
Google all of these, and I'm wondering how many are real games or how many aren't.
I've got to tell you, I will never play a game called cockroach poker. Okay,
I will never go anywhere near a cockroach. I'm definitely afraid of bugs.
Yeah, I'm of the mind that if someone said,
cockroach poker is
I
real.
need to give my life to destroy every cockroach in the universe, I would happily do it. That's how much I hate cockroaches.
I hate bugs in general. Anything with more than 4 legs, I'm definitely afraid of. That's the deal.
Steve, are you looking these up? Are these actual games?
I know some of them. Just... Cockroach poker I've heard of. Skull I'm familiar with. I've not played Skull though.
I think I have Skull. I might even own that game.
Matthew's like, dude, they're all real games, damn it.
Well, see, that's why I'm excited. I'm going to go back through the chat. I'm going to
look up real games.
I'm going to look up all the games that Matthew has shouted out because these might be kind of cool. I might have to check some of these out.
I think the biggest thing
is as well.
They're not co-op, so I don't go out and play those.
That's okay. I don't always play co-op games, so we're good.
Where's my music?
Yeah. Okay. Bring out the burning bush. Hit me with it. Bam.
Okay, there you go.
Gosh, you went biblical.
Yeah, for it.
I should have used a different burning. They hit me with a burning lamp or something. I should have used a different word. That's not
biblical.
Oh, I can do better. Can do better. Here we go.
Bush was a bad idea.
There you go. There you go.
The word oh, unbelievable. Oh, so yeah,
I think we've exhausted
mighty
this.
words of Bairnt's mouth that don't work sometimes.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I think it's a good opening though. Like you said, you want this to be an ongoing series talking about these different genres of games. But it's good to try to establish this one and each one that we step through. I mean, this one's a higher player count game. Higher player count sounds like the consensus is it's higher than 4.
That would be I would go with.
So games that hit higher than 4 player count, where Zombicide falls in there, 5 Minute Dungeon falls in there, Bairnt the Crew falls in there as well.
I mean, even like It's a Beautiful World. I mean, and you notice a lot of, I've always noticed that games that are okay to play with higher players are ones that, I like said, have simultaneous play. And I've noticed that even when you go into Kickstarters, they'll have like, oh, this is for 1 to 4 players. And also we open a 5-player variant. It's like, oh, if now 5 players can play. Now, was that going to be a good thing? Or are they going to have simultaneous play in this? Because if you're going to 5 players, you're like, and you're all set to do your turn. Because and I know this is not even a game. Well, it's a game, but it's not board game. Like when you're playing Dungeons and Dragons, I always find that sometimes when we get our big group together, there is a lot of like, when it gets to combat turns, even no matter how fast you try to run combat, if people are not taking simultaneous turns in a bigger player count of anything, you can really start to lose people.
Dan, take him down.
That's okay. I'm okay with eating soy for the rest of my life.
Take him down.
I'm good with all bugs being dead if that means I'd eat soy for the rest of my life.
Yep.
Oh, boy.
We don't need a reset button.
Don't use
This is it. One and done. This is it. Try again on another planet. Sorry.
Right.
Okay, I think we've exhausted this topic. But like I said,
we did a great job today. I think we did a really good job. Everybody was amazing.
Yeah.
The chat was amazing. Steve was amazing. Kanji was amazing. I'm working on it.
Wait, Bairnt. What was the first game we discussed today? What's the name of it?
It was one.
Oh, so close.
The problem is, I know I'm not going to get the first word right. So what's even guess one? Just one.
There you go.
One. That's it. So
he stuck to so what was funny is if you watch this or if you go back and watch it, you'll watch Bairnt's mind at work, right? It's firstly, okay, I know the number one's in it.
It's in,
all right.
It's in there.
They're gonna laugh because I don't know what the rest of it is. Okay. I got something I gotta do later. Okay, hey, that's a funny comment in chat. One.
Just one. Just one. My coffee is finally emptied. My brain might kick in now. That's the deal.
No, it's fun. It's all fun.
We love you, man.
Samurai Showdown too. We talked about. No, Samurai
Spirit.
You go to the Samurais.
Samurai Spirit. Yep.
Samurai. The guy was close.
Samurai Showdown, which is an SNK game.
That's true. That was a game. Anyway.
Okay.
All right.
What do you got come up on your channel, Bairnt?
Stuff. I think I got stuff coming up. So here's the deal. So apparently, in theory, Vampire the Masquerade is delivering today. So I might do an unboxing today if I have time. And then I'm going to learn that game. But I also want to do more Icefarian Guard. So I want to do that. And then we've got Oathsworn coming on Monday or maybe Tuesday. Colin, not sure what day Colin can do. And then I've got a painting stream I'm supposed to do because last week I had to cancel because I wasn't feeling well. And then doesn't it sound like you're talking to a kindergartner? And then and then there's what's the other game I want to do some more of? There's more games I want to do more of. Anyway, so I'm going to try to do an unboxing of Vampire the Masquerade. Summer is a little bit tougher for me to get games to the channel than the school year because my whole family's around on my Mondays off, which is just fine. I actually enjoy hanging out with my family. Like I've always said, family and friends come before. As my wife walks by, I got to say that. So the unboxing is going to happen when I get to, and I might have my painting episode this week will probably be for Vampire the Masquerade. So that's the deal. And I also want anybody, including Matt, he can do this for me as well. Put your favorite party games or high player count games in the comment section so I can go through those and kind of look at some of those. I know I've got about 102 I got to look at from Matt in the chat there. So we'll have to do that. So that's what I've got.
Y'all are almost through Oathsworn, right? You're like super close.
Yeah, we actually timed it out, and sadly, due to vacations, I think we're going to miss. I think we're going to be on the last fight the week after Gen Con. It's going to be our final fight. So Colin and I are actually trying to figure out a way to make sure we have it scheduled so we do the last fight before we go to Gen Con. That's our goal. Cool. We're not sure if we're going to get it done. It might mean we have to stream twice in 1 week, but we'll see if we can get that done. That's our goal. Cool. So anyway, so to answer your question, Steve, I have no idea what's coming up, but I got some ideas of what I want to do. Oh, It's a Beautiful World is also coming. Wonderful World. It's a Wonderful World is also coming to the channel as well because I got the campaign and I'm going to do the first one on the channel for that, for both One Stop and for me at the table. That's the deal. Kanji.
Today, after this, in 2 hours, I'm going to be playing Three Sisters on my channel, which is a roll and write game. And this is the month of roll and write and print and play for me, so that's all I'm playing this month. And I do it to showcase a lot of the indie devs out there who have roll and write print and plays that a lot of people don't know about and think a lot of people think, oh, if I want to play a board game, I need to spend $600+. You don't. You could spend less than $1 or up to $10 to play some really great games out there. So I'm sure this month is to showcase all of that. So today I'll be doing Three Sisters, And then tomorrow, you see Jen that's in chat. Jen on her Twitch channel, you should go check her out. She's an amazing board gamer, so she plays a lot of really great games on her Twitch channel. She and I are going to be playing Earth on her channel tomorrow.
Sweet.
So she has been gracious and invited me to join. So she will destroy me in Earth and keep winning. And so we'll be playing that on her channel. Check it out on Twitch. It's the same name that you see in the chat. Jen Cam plays board games. Then Tuesday, I'm playing something print and play. Thursday, something. Saturday, something. So I haven't determined what print and play games I'll be playing next week, but I just take it week by week, and we'll see how it shakes out. I think I have Dinosaur Roar and Right that I might be playing that one to see how that is.
That's an amazing name.
It is.
Yeah, so I think that one's going to be played soon. And then once the month's over, we'll be back into our regularly scheduled program.
Earth is awesome.
Yeah, Earth's a great game.
Earth is great. I love Earth.
Yeah,
I'm trying to play that more. I have to get people to play it. Talk about a barrier of entry. That's like your fourth step up when it comes to engine building games. When it comes to teaching engine building games, that's like the pinnacle almost of engine building.
Yeah, and I think I really liked the game a lot. The problem was that its solo mode was a point chase, and I wasn't interested in that. I backed the Kickstarter, but I ended up donating it away to someone who would get a lot better, give it a good home, and have a good time for it because its solo mode was just point soup. So, Steve, what do you got coming?
So I answered Jen's question here. Anyone going to Origins next weekend? I don't think any of us are this time around.
William from Hungry Gamer is going to be at Origins. I'm doing actually a painting episode in 2 weeks with him, and he's going to recap. One of the things we're going to talk about is recap at Origins.
Yeah, Origins is going to be not next year, but the year after. Next year is Essen and PAX. The PAX that's in Philly. Whatever PAX that is.
See, Steve always throws us a curveball at the end. What do you got going on your channel? We think we would know this information.
We do it every week.
Yes, Steve.
We don't.
But yes.
Steve, what do you got?
Coming up in about 4 hours, I'm going to be meeting with the designer of Midhala to play that game with him. It is a upcoming crowdfunding game on Kickstarter, and I think it's up to 4 players. It's a very interesting game in the sense that
Not a party game. Not a party game.
Not a party game. No, not a party game. Definitely not. It is Vikings, but fantasy Vikings, like a fantasy theme with not like normal historical Vikings, and a tower defense, almost like a dungeon crawl leveling up game with campaign.
Do you have to guard this tower from giant people with cheese on their head?
No, that sounds amazing.
No? Oh, okay. Well, I thought maybe the Vikings were trying to protect themselves from the Packers.
Oh.
Hey, come on, kid. You got to go with me a little bit.
Swing and a miss! Swing and a miss!
I love Kenji. What is he talking about?
Sports ball.
Oh no, I'm into the sports ball. I'm a sporty. It's just he lost me on that
one. Way too out there. Just when you start to talk about Timberwolves, I'll talk about another one then.
So I'm curious of Midhala. I'm very curious of that one.
Yeah, I'll have a prototype of that one later. It's supposed to be on the way. It's coming here pretty soon.
So are y'all going to be playing it digitally?
Yeah, this will be on digitally on Tabletop Simulator. Because people were asking about it, and he wanted to do a quick demo play early like that. So we're going to do that in a few hours here. But I'll have a physical prototype and playthrough of that with Kim and I later. So, and Derrick, if you're around, we can introduce you to it as well. So.
Yeah, because we got a Game of Palooza, but it will be in July, I believe.
Yep, Game of Palooza coming up. Monday will be Act 8, the final act for Valor and Villainy campaign. So I'm excited for wrapping that one up.
That's awesome.
That game
Steve, you have been doing so. I'm sorry, I gotta do it. Steve and Kim have been playing Valor and Villainy, and I want Steve and Kim to get the recognition for putting it out there and playing Valor and Villainy. If you want to see the game played through, they've been doing playthroughs. Y'all might not have noticed that, but they put in that hard work and they've been doing it, and it's been great laughs coming off of it. There was a really great laugh coming off of it from some of the recent ones. So check them out. It's amazing playthroughs. It's good stuff. They've covered a lot of content on it.
We really enjoyed this one, as you can probably tell. Yeah, so the plan for that game specifically, wrap it up next week. The week after that, we're going to show you the other way to play it, Hawkmoor. So it's basically 2 maps. So we'll show you that one, and then the week after that, we'll do a review of the whole system. So that's the goal for that one. And then Wednesday this week, I'm thinking about returning to this game. That's green screen, Monster Pit. We played it last week. Monster Pit.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, isn't that the guy from the American Tail? Moskowitz?
Man,
maybe.
That.
It's been a while since I've seen that.
Wow. But you remember that name is amazing.
Yeah.
Well, you have to remember, I'm amazing.
And now you're muted.
I may have just seen the movie with my kids. Don't give my secrets away, Robin.
Is that why you muted yourself so she wouldn't out you?
That's right. My cover is blown. All lies here. I'm out of here.
Ninja Vanish. Oh, speaking of Ninja Vanish, Steve. So, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge is about to release their first DLC.
Uh-huh.
Which we did a complete mayhem stream, and I'm saying we go back to that.
Yes, we
do. For the DLC. You, Kim, me, and whoever else get a full party and let the mayhem continue.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, Kim, already. She's in.
Oh, did she already say she's in?
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm in.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, so that'll be coming to the channel as soon as that DLC is released. So we will make time for that. Cool. Anyway, I'm looking forward to Mid-Hala. Can't wait to see it. So
cool. Then I'll wrap it up for today. Well, thank everyone for watching, and thanks for being here, Bairnt and Derrick.
Glad to be back. I know y'all were having, the upscale talks while I was away, but now I'm back to bring this thing back down to the mud.
Dude, there was so much dead space without you here.
Man, I watched when I was in. I watched one of them. I actually stayed up super late to watch it, but I watched one of them when I was over there. And Bairnt, you were saying, what was he saying? He kept saying a phrase. And it was hilarious.
Wait, I'm sure I feel like out in the right direction. That's usually one of my superpowers.
I'm trying to remember what it was, but you kept missaying the phrase, and it was incredible. Anyway.
Oh, that's
I can't remember the phrase was, but yeah, it was great. Oh man.
Oh boy, I've already blocked out of my mind. Best plan.
All right.
Okay. Well, thanks everyone for joining, and we'll see you at the next stop.
I'm gonna go on vacation, or I'm gonna go on location next week too.
Okay. Bye, everyone.
Bye.